morning, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to attend this presentation. My name is Fareed, and I'm here with my colleagues Aldina, Jared, and Michael from Analyt Solutions, and we are here today to present to you our findings for Spruce Land Properties. As you can see, here is a quick overview of the agenda that we will be covering off today, starting right off with the problem statement.
Thank you, Fareed. So what is a problem statement? We as a team have found that Spruce Land Properties requires a strategy to address the issue of undervalued shares. To properly address this issue, there are some concerns that Spruce Land is facing that we must have a look at. One of them being the shareholder limitation, which is their low exposure to more shareholders. Another one is the volatility of the market. We understand Alberta's economy is based on oil prices, and these fluctuate quite often. And finally, the company structure, as Spruce Land is not a public company and therefore not able to open up to more investors. For our first analysis, we had done SWOT. For strength, obviously your biggest strength is your financial position with high cash reserves due to your conservative model and current partnerships with joint ventures. And next for the weaknesses. Unaccustomed shareholders being one of the weaknesses in terms of limited experience in investments and decision making, as well as the geographical limitations as most operations are based in Slave Lake. As for opportunities, there is development growth in southern Alberta with the increase of immigration. For threats, as mentioned, the volatility of the market creates a threat because of fluctuating oil prices and the increase of living costs in Alberta. As accountants, we do like numbers. We took a step further and quantified the SWOT analysis. As you can see, your strengths are bigger than your weaknesses. While there are threats, there are more opportunities, and I will pass it on to Michael.
Thank you. We'll go through some ratios. We'll start off with the cash generating power. This ratio is the ability that they draw cash from their day-to-day operations over complete cash flows. 0.52, this does show that they have over half their cash flows come from the day-to-day operations. Next, we'll go to the quick ratio. This is their ability to pay off current liabilities through the current assets. 5.54 is a quite high number and it's pretty strong, but it's due to Spruce Land is in the real estate industry, and they do not hold a whole lot of current liabilities. Interest coverage, it is their ability to pay interest payments through through their assets. 3.33 is a strong ratio, but due to the compared to the industry average of 1.1, and this is due to Spruce Land's conservative model. And so the key takeaway from this analysis: Spruce Land's property can venture into new opportunities. How can they do this? By taking advantage of their unique financial position.
Thank you very much, Michael. So let's move on to the alternatives. The first alternative we have for you today is the option to buy back and diversify. So what that means is the company would reacquire some of the previously sold shares in order to reorient the company in a new direction and possibly even relocate to another region within Alberta. Some benefits this brings is, of course, the inflation of share value based on simple supply and demand. As you buy back more of your shares, this directly addresses the issue of undervalued shares by increasing the value. Some other benefits we can see is the exposure to new markets, if you so choose to relocate to a different region. And then finally, seeing how Alberta is going through a poor economic conditions right now, we believe that your organization can really use this time to take advantage of low interest rates and pricing. Some risks, however, is the shareholder response, especially seeing how the company is founded on this premise of social benefits specific to Slave Lake. We have to ask ourselves, how are the shareholders going to react to the buyback and diversify idea? The other alternative we have is one that is pretty self-explanatory, and that is to dissolve. Simply put, the company would dispose of all of its properties and assets to try and realize the fair value of your shares. Now, some good things in this is, of course, that it's risk averse. Aldina has touched up on the volatility of the market, so by going ahead with this alternative, we forego that risk of volatility and fluctuation. Another thing that really makes this alternative really attractive is the fact that there's already an existing offer on the table. Some bad things, however, some risks, is again, due to the poor economic conditions of the province, there is a possibility that the organization may not be able to realize all of the full fair value of its shares and properties and assets. And of course, seeing how it is in a very strong financial position, we do have to consider the opportunity cost of dissolving a company that has the financial strength to keep going. So in order to make a decision between the two, we've used the decision matrix with 3 factors as our criteria, that being risk, share value, and compliance. We've rated them between 0 and 5, 5 being outstanding. And while I won't go through all of this in detail, I do want to bring your attention to the last two that clearly stand out. So we did, based on our professional judgment, we did rate buyback and diversify. We rated it a high 4 on both share value and compliance, just because, again, as you buy back more of your shares, that does have a direct influence on the pricing of your a direct influence on the value of your shares. And then compliance, based on the recent support and openness of your shareholders when it comes to the idea of diversification, we believe that your shareholders should be on board with the idea of diversifying beyond the north. So in summary, we have a clear winner, of course. So today our recommendation for your organization is to go ahead and proceed with alternative 1, which is to buy back and diversify, which Jared will elaborate on.
Thank you, Fareed. So what does buyback and diversify mean? Well, buyback and diversify, as Fareed mentioned earlier, is about repurchasing shares you previously sold to your shareholders so you can have more command power, more decision-making power within your business. Also allow you to possibly relocate and reorient your company. In regards to relocation, in our SWOT analysis, we found an opportunity to move south to southern Alberta. Southern Alberta is a great place perspective compared to northern Alberta because there's more infrastructure, more cities, and a bigger market there. There's also a greater opportunity to work more closely with your industry partners, as Spruce Line has worked with oil and gas a lot in the past, saying that a lot of the northern properties house their workers. You'll be able to work in more close communion with them as they are based out of southern Alberta. But there's also a great opportunity to diversify into one or more towns there because of the density of the area. Here we have a quick map of southern Alberta. As you can see, it has dense infrastructure, and we've located a couple of areas of key interest. Lethbridge and Medicine Hat are especially attractive since Lethbridge has a 2% growth regardless of economic circumstances. But we also like Brooks, High River, Okotoks, and Strathmore because they're small and they have a lot of potential for growth, but not just as a way to generate capital, but a way to grow the community alongside our own company as we restructure. Further, we've done a population analysis. So we see that between 2011 and 2016, Alberta has experienced 11% growth in the population. We can see that a lot of this is due to the immigration to the south, accounting for 51% of this influx. And we infer this as causation for the rental rate. Alberta has a 27% average rental rate. And you can see that two of our main areas, Lethbridge and Brooks, are scored between 5 and 7% higher. So great opportunities there. I'll pass it off.
Thank you for that. Implementation timeline. We'll start off with our short-term goals, 6 months. We'll start off by consulting, figure out the tax and legal implementations. Next, planning. You'll figure out who's on board, who's not for the buyback. And also further check out the regions that you want to scope out and go for. And then we do the buyback. After that, long-term goals, 1 to 3 years, integrate joint ventures. What are those? Integration, student housing. Southern Alberta is home to more post-secondary institutions than Northern Alberta. And due to, as Jared said, the increasing population in Southern Alberta, this demands for more affordable initiatives of housing, and as well with the student housing, opportunities to really connect the community and everyone live happily. Joint ventures, you're already connected heavily with oil and gas industries, with opportunities now for new municipalities and levels of government.
Thank you, Michael. So finally, we do recognize that with every recommendation, there's a risk, of course, and ours is no different. So we did talk in the alternatives that the biggest risk for this alternative is the shareholder response. So the first risk we've identified is the shareholder response. If they are not on board, the problem this creates, of course, is the failed implementation plan. Now, in order to mitigate this, what we recommend is to actually offer a buyback option for those who are not on board with this idea, somewhere between 22 and 45, but we recommend kind of basing it at $33 per share. That way you incentivize them to really take that offer and allow the company to grow. The second risk we have is the risk of going into a city in the southern region and realizing that the market is actually poorer than anticipated, which totally happens from time to time. The problem this creates is, of course, subpar returns, and the way to mitigate this is to actually do something that you're already doing in the north, diversifying your developments. We currently see that you have developments in Slade and Athabasca, and that diversification has been a great driver for growth. So we suggest doing the exact same thing in the south. So instead of just moving into one city or one town, to actually diversify between some of the small towns that we've identified. So finally, in conclusion, the challenge that we were brought in today was to identify a strategy to address the undervalued shares that you currently face. Our recommendation for that was the buyback and diversify recommendation. How do you practice?
Thank you. Okay, we'll start 5 minutes of questions when the judges ask the first one.
I'll jump off. Thank you very much for your presentation. So you really worked with some buyback and diversify approach. And thank you for speaking to the opportunities that we have for our company there. I just wanted to know, I mean, you really hit the nail on the head. You know, we really want to increase our share price and get that up as well, and realizing about 50%. Do you have any sort of projections or anticipations in what we can, with the buyback, get our share price up to?
Well, since we have yet to assess who of your shareholders wish to take the buyback offer or follow with the plan, we can't have a set number. Naturally, the more you buy back, the more inflated your shares will be. But there's also, for every shareholder who's not taking the buyback option, the capability that comes from the new opportunity of moving south to grow your shares because of the new developments in the new market and the new community that we're in is also as profitable. So either situation, your shares do inflate in price, but one, the dissolve may be more immediate, but the restructure and move somewhere else is more long-term.
And while we don't have a set cost, we did look at if you have the capability. So the first thing that really popped out was, of course, the cash reserves that the company has. So they've kind of followed a conservative model where your organization can kind of save a lot of cash for situations such as these. So now that there's a economic downturn, we can use this cash to really buy back those shares in order to increase the value. And then if there's any need for further funding, we did recognize that, acknowledge that the interest coverage, so the company doesn't have really great financial ratios, so if there's ever a need for further funding, loans would never be an issue, just because the company currently has really low debt to equity. Your organization really doesn't depend a lot on debt, so that is something that you can really work on getting easily because of the high interest coverage ratio. So we don't suggest going there first because that's just like an emergency. We do suggest using the cash reserves, but it's good to know that with the financial ratios, you're able to get more funding. So.
Thank you for your presentation, guys. You hit on the head of what our main priority is, and that's stock prices going up. But one of the other priorities we have is the social implications, whatever we do. Are you worried at all? You talked about the risk, but are you worried about shifting everything to Summerburg and alienating our existing base of investors? And if so, what can we do to proactively overcome that alienation?
So to answer your question, we are not worried about alienating the current northern regions that we work with because we're not planning on abandoning any of those properties. It makes economic sense to keep those properties and continue to maintain them. This does not make sense to further expand there as it's not profitable, but we for sure don't want to abandon anybody. Moving south is more of it has a management implication. So you'll be able to better operate your business in the north and continue in the south when you're located there, but it's not going to impede your ability to better serve the communities of Slave Lake and Athabasca.
But won't it mean that we're limiting the amount of help we can provide those communities because we're now focusing on resources somewhere else?
I wouldn't say so because the cost becomes so much lower once you move south. You will have more liquidity and you'll be able to do more with the extra financial power you have from that new location.
So in that expansion option, was there other places you looked? I mean, the company itself has been started off years ago in the north. It's been very successful. Why not northern BC, northern Saskatchewan? What other spots did you look besides just Southern Alberta?
Well, we chose Southern Alberta because of the lower living costs, and it was easier, more market infrastructure is all there. It's just easier to access those markets. And at this moment, you guys are still a smaller company. It'd be harder to really reach out to those further corners. So I think go south, access those markets, easy to get into. Calgary is a prime location for headquarters. A lot of oil and gas industry headquarters are down there. Make those connections. So I see a lot of benefits from going down south and then further off expanding other places.
There's time for one more question.
We're good.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll call you guys back in just a few minutes. Oh, yeah, perfect, thank you.